What are the 3 things that Curry does on his release to be the best shooter in the world? And how I turned from a horrible player into a great shooter very quickly, just copying these 3 things from him. And how you can do that and stop missing so many easy shots. I will show you what are the 3 essential mechanics that you need to learn, how to implement those mechanics into your jump shot in a very fast and easy way, and show proof that this works for anybody. But first, you need to know what mechanics are. If you don't already know, understanding shooting mechanics will save you years of frustration. And I learned this in the hard way. I spent 2 whole years training my shot without focus in mechanics. And the result? I didn't make a single 3-point shot in all that time. You must implement mechanics into your jump shot. It is what it gives your shot consistency and precision, making it easy to hit shots that you take. Mechanics are just that, an intentional movement that improve your jump shot for the better. When I first started, I struggled a lot to understand how to implement the mechanics that I was learning into my jump shot. So it took me weeks to implement just one mechanic to my shooting form. I was lost and confused, wasting a lot of my time. I don't want you to go through the same frustration, so avoiding this mistake could be the key to becoming an incredible shooter, instead of just another player with a 3-point percentage of 10% on the court. So the step-by-step method that I start doing to cut that time from weeks to just some days to learn a single mechanic is very simple. You just need to follow these 4 steps to do it. First, begin practicing a new mechanic without actually shooting. This will help you to understand the mechanic and get comfortable with the movement before shooting. Second, take close range shots or free throws to learn how to integrate the new mechanic into real shots. Third, challenge yourself with mid-range shots and slowly progress to the 3-point line, developing the mechanic under more difficult conditions than a free throw, therefore making the mechanic feel more and more comfortable with time and more natural too. And finally, record yourself in the end of every shooting session to identify what needs to be improved and adjusted for the next practice. You will know you have finished developing the mechanic when it comes second nature and you no longer need to force it to go right. When I started to do this, it was so much better to develop and implement mechanics and made me develop the mechanics to a higher level than I expected ever to. So really recommend to you to do this step-by-step method to implement the mechanics that we are going to cover. Curry's release includes 3 essential mechanics that you need to know, and we are going to cover them. It is the set point, the arm extension, and release angle. First, I want to tell you about the set point. Think about a spring. The more that you compress it, the more power you generate for it, right? This is what Curry does so differently about the set point than the rest of the players. Instead of letting his arm on a 19 degrees angle like Klay Thompson and Michael Jordan, he reduces this angle to about 40 degrees. And remember, the spring analogy works in the same way here. The more that you reduce the angle of your arm and forearm, the more power you generate when shooting. So, this is one of the best mechanics that you can develop to be a better shooter, since that with more power you can put less force on the ball, having more control when shooting, therefore being a more consistent shooter. This mechanic may be the most crucial mechanic that I developed. Because of the set point, I was able to make more shots and focus more when shooting. To do this mechanic like Curry does, just point your index finger to your eyebrows when starting the release of the ball. And that's it. It's a very easy mechanic to do, but still can have huge impact in your shooting ability. But one thing that you can't do is to release the ball without your arm fully extended. Think about this as a line, being the start of the release equals 0, and when you fully extend your arm equals 1. If you don't fully extend your arms, would you agree with me that each time that you shoot the ball, the number on the line would be different? What that means is that you will be a more inconsistent shooter, because you need to always hit the same number again and again and again, what is a very hard thing to do. But when you always extend your arm to the limit, you will always get the number 1, being easier to be consistent since now you don't have to worry about getting another variable to hit a 3-point shot. The other thing that Curry does really well too is the angle of the release. Angle of release means the angle that your arm does when you finish releasing the ball is X. See, basketball is just a game of physics. To make a shot, the ball needs to be in a perfect angle to go in. Depending on your force and precision, the angle can be more or less specific. What I mean by that? See, if you shot in a very acute angle, you need to be more precise with your force and aim to hit the shot. And the same way around with a very high angle. We all know about that. What we want to do is to pick the perfect angle that leaves us with the most chance of error, that still makes the ball go in. In other words, an angle that we don't need to shoot the ball perfectly every time to make the shot. There's a lot of videos here on YouTube already talking about this. And what is this perfect angle? And in a general form is the old and reliable 45 degrees angle. We can see if we are shooting the ball more or less than 45 degrees by our own eyes or seeing our arm after releasing the ball. If the arm is below the eyes, the angle of the release is very acute. And if our arm is way up, it's recommended that you lower the angle. And where is the proof that these mechanics can work for me? I can tell you that because if it works for me, it will work for you. See, I trained shooting for 3 whole years, and just after 2 years I attempted my first shot in game. No mystery that I missed that shot. And I need more 6 months to after that hit my first shot in game. But then I start to do these mechanics. After I implement these mechanics, I indeed become a better shooter. But I not only increase my shooting percentage. No. Implementing these things was a major thing that made me enter on my first basketball team, all because of my shooting skills. In the tryouts, the coaches see my shooting performance, and comparing to other players there, I was the best shooter. In any other aspect of the game, I was garbage, straight up trash. So I probably was selected just because of my shooting skills. So if I can play on a basketball team because I shoot in a decent level, I know with 100% that you can do it too. It's just follow what you learn on this video. So you need to implement those mechanics if you want to solve your problem of not being able to shoot 3-point shots consistently in games. Actually, I lied there. It's just follow what you learned on this video. That's not all that you need to do to become a great shooter. In my shooting journey, I did so many things to become a better shooter. And I did not just learn these 3 mechanics that I teach you. Having a perfect release is great, but it's nothing if you can't shoot the ball fast enough to not get blocked. If you don't want your shots to get blocked and needs to be faster when shooting, watch the next video to see how Curry used his super quick hand placement to shoot faster than anybody in the NBA, and how you can learn with him that single mechanic. See you there.